So, welcome. This is our fifth Zoom call. We have one more after this. Yay. Um, and what I'm, well, for those who don't know, because I will post this on YouTube as well, I am Celeste Mumford, creator of the Daily Cleansing Lifestyle, which is an intermittent fasting protocol, which is different from most other intermittent fasting protocols because I use fermentation as well as clean food as much as possible, grown closest to its source, not a lot of processed or foods or things like that. So we're going to jump right into it, and we're going to talk about the best foods to eat for fat burning. Now, and you figure intermittent fasting, why are you talking about foods for intermittent fasting and fat burning? And the reason why is it all works together. So in order to intermittent fast, because guess what? If you're fasting for, and I hope my air conditioner is not too loud. I hear it very loud, so forgive me if you hear it loudly. Intermittent fasting can be challenging for a lot of people going without food for 16 or 18 hours, right? So typically we eat when we wake up to the time we go to sleep, pretty much. So intermittent fasting requires abstinence from you, abstaining from food for a certain period of time. It can be called intermittent fasting, it can be called restrictive eating, but in any event, you're going for a certain period of time with no food. Yes, you can have water, preferably only water, but if you need to, you can have coffee or black coffee or green or black tea with no additives, no sweeteners, no flavorings. And on the Daily Cleansing Lifestyle, I even recommend and suggest herbs, bitter herbs, thyme, rosemary, different things like that that will help with detoxification and will help you along your intermittent fast. So, in the intermittent fasting community, everybody talks about salt and electrolytes. And you have, and I posted some of his videos, Dr. Jason Fung and some other people who are experts in intermittent fasting, and they look at people, for the most part, their patients. Dr. Fung deals with people who need dialysis, they might need surgery, amputees, and like serious diabetic kind of situations. But salt and electrolytes, they talk about a lot. And for the most part, it's because people don't eat right. So they're giving you things to supplement your diet so that you can fast. And for me, even when I've done a 7-day fast, I do pretty much weekly 90-hour fast, which is the better part of a week. And I've never needed salt or electrolytes. Never. Not once have I had to put salt in my mouth or I had to eat electrolytes. And I believe it's because the way I eat. I prepare and I eat for the purpose of fasting. So that's different than you're just waking up one day and say, oh, I'm a fast, and then you're struggling, you feel lightheaded, you feel weak, oh, I can't do it, because your body isn't conditioned, nor are you prepared for a fast. So we're going to talk about foods today that help you fast and help you become successful in your 16 or 18 or 20-hour fast, or some people might do OMAD, 1 meal a day, but it's to help sustain you through the fasting. Our goal is to use fat as fuel, to burn fat as energy, and in order to do that, you must have fat. Oh, I forgot my towel. I'm gonna sweat all over the place. So you must have fat. So I'm talking about eating real food, not talking about a magic herb or a stimulant or a supplement or teas or other things that are going to help you lose weight that you have to depend on and spend money on to lose weight. We're not talking about a fat burning quick fix. We're looking at addressing the root cause and to give the body what it needs to restore a normal balance in blood sugar. Right? So we all know fasting, like I said, is to abstain from food, but there's a right way to fast that's beneficial, and there are some other ways that might not be right for you or might not be beneficial, which means you're going to not continue for whatever reason because you're not prepared. So people who successfully intermittent fast prepare their bodies by eating nutrient dense, fat fueled food that will help them stay full longer, help them maintain a stable blood sugar, which in order to have a stable blood sugar includes reducing carbs, starch, sugars, and stress on your body while not upsetting your body's equilibrium. So that's the goal, right? So you'll need food that helps you maintain a fullness, that will help decrease cravings and those carb cycles. And the goal is to get you off that hamster meal to eat good quality food that will sustain your body and help you accomplish your goals, right? So we don't want anything that's going to work against us, right? We want something that's going to work with us and help us accomplish our goals, right? So think of a campfire. When you have, and I don't go camping, this is the example the doctor used, so I'm just repeating it. When you go camping, you want to find the best wood to burn so that it burns over a long period of time and you don't have to keep refeeding it or keep starting it over. You want some good logs, right, that are going to burn for a long period of time. So that is think of fat like that, of those long burning logs that you might put on at noontime, and you might not have to do anything to it for 3, 4, 5 hours because the wood is sustaining the fire. And carbs and sugar and a lot of the root vegetables and grains are like twigs on the fire. You put one on, 15 minutes later you might have to put another one on. Then you gotta, what do they call it when you move around your logs to kindle? So you want big, healthy logs on your fire, not small little twigs that you're going to have to keep feeding and refueling and finding and adding more to the fire. So that's the goal in the food that we eat, to sustain us for hours while we intermittent fast. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions so far? Wait, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I guess you can.
I have to unmute. Yes,
Okay,
I understand.
Okay. So the carbs, the root vegetables, the sugars, those are all the twigs. And we don't want twigs. We don't want twigs. So good fat and protein is what's going to keep that fire burning longer. It's going to keep you full. It's going to keep you satiated. It's going to keep you nourished, to sustain your body. And that's what we're looking for, nutrients to sustain our bodies. And in the fasting community, while I'm on a lot of Facebook forums, people always ask, like, what do you mean you eat to fast? I'm like, don't you, like, you fast? Don't you eat to, like, you don't eat to fast? I eat for the purpose of fasting. Now, that might sound crazy, like, well, fasting is going without food. But I'm eating to sustain my body, which is why I think I don't need salts or electrolytes even on a 3-day water fast. And I can still exercise on a 3-day water fast. And I don't get lightheaded. I don't get dizzy. I don't feel sick. I'm going about my business. And it's because of the way I eat, right? So certain things that you want to look at to eat. And we can modify it for non-meat eaters. But for meat eaters, you want grass-fed or pasture-raised meat and fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel. And you want to buy the best meat that you can buy. I was not organic. I'm not organic. But as I learned that fat, and let me check my notes here. Fats, when you buy meat that is organic And pasture raised, the cleanest meat you can buy, it's better because meat that is not organic can store the toxins in the fat because it's fat soluble, right? So if you're going to eat meat, you want to buy the best meat that you could, the cleanest meat, because for the fact that it's cleaner and it won't have toxins and pesticides and other things stored in the fat. Because remember, we're eating fat. So we want clean fat whenever possible. So that's why you want good fat and protein. Now, along with that, I put bone broth. Bone broth is collagen rich, it's nutrient dense, and it really feeds and fuels your body. And like I said, I eat for the purpose of fasting. So when I make my bone broth, I put organ meats in it. I just strain it, so I'm just drinking the broth, but it's a rich gelled broth. I put the organ meats in it. I put a good quality mineral salt in it. Those things help to sustain because it helps feed the electrolytes and the salts that your body needs. So you have to think very intentional. Like I'm eating because I need to eat, but I'm also eating to nourish my body and to sustain my body during times of fasting or times of famine or times of going without, right? So that's the way I think, and it might sound a little strange, but that's the way it works for me. Another thing, besides good grass-fed meats, organic meat, fatty fish, whole eggs and egg yolks. Now that sounds strange because we've always been taught, chuck the yolks, eat the whites. But guess what? Why we don't, and in this community, when I listen to doctors and follow the doctors who are fasting experts, they talk about the egg yolk containing many critical amino acids, which are found in the yolk, not in the whites. So the yolk is nutrient dense. The whites, they say, are actually low-grade proteins. So eat the whole egg. But if you had to discard a piece of the egg, discard the whites and eat the yolks. The whites are good to make meringues and it gets stuff fluffy and, high if you want to make a bread and things like that. But the yolks are what's happening, right? So you want to eat good pasture-raised eggs. So in all of these foods, the fish, the meats, the eggs, they're all zero carb or very low carb, slow burning, which is what you want. Remember the logs on the fire. You want slow burning. They're satiating, meaning they keep you full longer, and they have high utilization, which means your body can use all of it. Your body, and we talked about last time, during the assimilation time, after you eat, after 8 o'clock, from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., our body goes into assimilation. That's a natural cycle of the body. And during assimilation, our body takes the food that we ate and it uses it. It sends it where it needs to go and it uses it. So even with that, it makes sense to eat food that your body recognizes as food, right? Because if your body's looking at something like, okay, I don't know what this is. I don't know what to do with it. So we're going to eat clean food that our body recognizes as food and nutrients that our bodies can use to help it do its job, right? And also those foods have the least impact on insulin. So when you're fat adapted, when you're into ketosis, you're more insulin resistant, which is how it helps diabetes. So good fat and protein helps to keep you insulin resistant, which is what we want, especially if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic or looking to burn fat as fuel. When it comes down to fat and oils, grass-fed butter. Whenever you're thinking about a protein, an animal protein, you want to look for grass-fed. So grass-fed butter, extra virgin olive oil, which is the first press of the olive, and it has the most nutrients. The grass-fed butter, along with the EVOO or extra virgin olive oil, are the least processed. So remember, we're looking at food that is as close to its natural source as possible with minimal touching, minimal processing. That's what's best. That's what our bodies recognize. That's what our bodies want. And plus, it leaves the molecules intact. So you want something that is as perfect of a food as you can get. And food we're looking at as ingredients. So olive oil is an ingredient. So if you look at your food and it has a whole lot of other ingredients, it's far removed from the source. So we're trying to find single ingredients. Right? So olive oil is just going to say olive oil. Butter is just going to say, farm fresh, pasture raised cream. So we want to find single ingredients. Those are the ingredients, right? So again, fats should be organic because they're fat, whether it's animal fat from meat or whether it's plant fat from your olive oils or from other nut oils, because they're fat soluble and are stored and dissolved in the fat. So certain things you want to buy the best you could just because it's more beneficial for you. Any questions or anything so far?
I'm good right now.
Okay. So now MCT oil we talk about a lot. And MCT oil is medium chain triglycerides. It's derived from coconut oil. So it's derived from virgin coconut oil. And that's more refined than butter. It's more refined than extra virgin olive oil. It really doesn't have any nutrients. It's just a good fat. Right? So I put that in my butter coffee. Every morning I culture my own butter. So I put my butter and I put MCT oil in my coffee every morning. Why? Because I'm looking for fat. I'm looking for good fat. MCT oil also helps with ketones. They boost the ketones, which helps when you're transitioning. Now this is key for people who are transitioning from high carb to low carb. The ketones help you transition from high carb to low carb. It helps you to transition your diet just because it's good fat. So it could give you a little diarrhea if you're not used to it in the beginning. So people say start off with maybe a teaspoon, but work your way up to 2 tablespoons. And that you can just take off a spoon. If you don't drink coffee, you can put it in your tea. Take it off a spoon. Like I said, like I always say, I drink olive oil. I take a shot of olive oil every day. I live alone and it's just me, so I just chug it. But olive oil, I put MCT oil in certain things. I'll even sprinkle it on my my fruit sometimes. So even if you eat low carb fruit, berries, add avocado to it, because that good fat helps to counter, even though they're low carb, but it helps to counter the low carb and it helps to keep things in balance. So we want to put fat on as everything. Avocado. You're making a sandwich. You might not want mayonnaise. Spread avocado on it. Put butter on all your food. Sprinkle your salad dressings with olive oil. There's a lot of ways to get it, and they don't have to be meat based. They can be olive oil, they can be MCT oil, it can be coconut oil. If you like almond butter, take a teaspoon of almond butter off a spoon, spread almond butter on a chaffle. So there are lots of ways to get fat, good fat in your diet. We just have to think outside the box, right? So like I said, MCT oil has no micronutrients, no vitamins, no minerals, just fat calories. Now, there are other cream-based things that we can eat. Creme fraiche, that's a fermented dairy, 35% fat. Sour cream, 15% fat. Things that we can put in coffee, heavy cream is 35% fat, right? Half and half. You would think half and half is half of heavy cream, right? So if heavy cream comes in at 35% fat, you think half and half is going to be higher, but that's only 15% fat. Coconut cream. I have coconut, and I have a coconut cream and a coconut milk that I buy RODRARYO. I have to check the brand, but it's just 100% coconut. It has no fillers, it's just coconut. And it might cost a little more, but it's a single ingredient, right? So that's what we want. So coconut cream, 20% fat. So the coconut cream, the heavy cream, the half and half are great for cooking and great for your coffee. The creme fraiche and the sour cream, because they're fermented, are more for cooking or adding to cooked food. I might try it, but I wouldn't suggest putting it in your coffee because it will curdle, right? In addition, natural nuts and seeds. Vegans, vegetarians, meat eaters, unless you have a nut allergy, everybody should eat natural nuts. When I say natural, they're not roasted, they're not salted, they're just a nut right out the shell, right? Very high in fat, very low in carbs. Macadamia nuts are really high in fat. Pecans, walnuts, almonds, as far as nut seeds, flax seeds. Now, I just found out, because I've been eating flax seeds a lot, but I was talking to my oncologist and I said, I want to speak to an alternative medicine doctor who is an herbalist and oncologist. Put all that together. And Sloan Kettering has a doctor, Dr. Gary Chang, Dr. Gary Dang. And he told me, and he had all my records from before, and he told me not to eat flax seeds. I'm like, what? I've been eating flax seeds for years. He said the malignancy that I had was estrogen produced. And he said flax seeds produce estrogen. I'm like, get out of here. How come nobody told me that before? So flax seeds are off my list, personally. But just because they're off my list doesn't mean they should be off your list. Does that make sense? So we're to eat for our own terrain. We're supposed to know what's good for our bodies, eat those things that are beneficial, put aside those things that aren't. So flax seeds are off my list, but flax seeds are a good seed in general for people. And pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are good. Raw sunflower seeds. There are so many natural seeds that are just high in fat, low in carbs that I recommend having a variety of seeds. Vegetables. Now, vegetables fall under carbs, but there are many low carb vegetables, which we talked about a lot of times. Avocado, of course, is my number one go-to for vegetables. Leafy greens, lettuce, arugula, kale, spinach, collard greens. Broccoli is a good low carb vegetable. Cauliflower, bell peppers. So look for things that are low carb and eat them. You can eat them. And even though they're not high fat, they are good for your body. Now, people who are carnivores, and if you don't know, a carnivore is a person that only eats meat. They eat meat products. They have nothing to do with a vegetable or anything. It's just meat. So if you're a carnivore, of course, you wouldn't do the vegetables. But if you're not a carnivore, I recommend vegetables. And as a matter of fact, I posted that I picked some collard greens and kale from my garden. I am so happy about that. But I'm like, I don't eat more than I eat. What am I going to do with all this stuff? So I cooked the kale and cabbage. I mixed them together because it's like, I can't do them separate. I'm just going to do them together. And I fatified them. So they're already good, grown organically. So they're already a very good vegetable. How did I fatify them? Okay, I cooked them I added butter to them. I added some extra virgin olive oil to it. And I saved my bacon fat. I saved my bacon fat. I put it in the refrigerator and I added bacon fat to it. So now I didn't put so much that it was greasy, but it's It's a leafy green, so it's good for me. It has lots of vitamins and nutrients, but also I made it more fat friendly. So, and that's what I mean by when I say put butter on things, put butter on things, put extra virgin olive oil, put coconut oil, put avocado oil, put natural oils on just about everything you eat. Not to saturate it, but just to add a little more fat, which will keep you full. Cabbage. Cabbage is great cooked. Cabbage is great with sauerkraut. I recommend, I'm a big proponent and recommender of raw fermented vegetables. And the fermentation process not only cleans your gut, not only gives you good bacteria, but it helps impart nutrients to every part of your body. And like I said, I don't have the scientific data, but I truly believe the reason that I can be sustained on my water only fast is because of the fermented foods. That salt, those electrolytes are in my body. I eat them every day, 2 or 3 times a day. I'm eating something fermented. So it's part of, it's in me. And because I eat for the purpose of fasting and because I eat intentionally, I can, my body's more sustained. So everybody on the 15 and 30 is intermittent fasting. You are intermittent fasting, you're eating time restricted, and my goal is to help you to ride this wave all the way out so that you feel good, you look good, you're not feeling, shaky in your head, you're not feeling weak. And the way to do that is to eat for the purpose of fasting. So what else? We have more time because remember last time they cut us off at like 40 minutes flat. So I don't want that to happen. And really that was all I had. So Nancy, since it's just me and you, we can talk and we can see, what else, other questions you might have, other ways I might be able to help you. So what's going on?
Okay, now, one thing I didn't consider, but I will now, is I was using butter or extra virgin, but I realize now you can use them both together.
You can use them both together.
That's getting a real bang of fat. What about ketones? You mentioned ketones. Ketones, in what form or how do you know ketones? Where? Because only thing I know of ketones are like a pill form.
Is the what?
A pill that you would take. I went to an herbal store and they had a bottle. It was a capsule. I don't know. Ketones are how can I get ketones naturally?
Well, see, the Mct oil, the pure fat helps with the ketones.
Okay.
Which helps your body.
That's in the okay, I got it.
Right. So remember, Mct oil has no nutrients. It's only good fat. Okay. So when your ketones are raised, it helps you to become more fat adapted. And it helps to, when you're low carb, high fat, it helps to turn the switch on to help you burn fat.
Yeah. And
the way that you really are going to burn fat and to turn that on is to minimize carbs. Because carbs and sugar are always going to burn first. Because remember the example I gave that carbs are like cash in your pocket. So you go somewhere, you got $5 here, you can spend it easily. But the fat is stored away. This fat is more like in a bank vault where you got to get in your car, you have to drive to the bank, you have to sit down with a teller, you got to sign the sheet, you got to get the key. So the more carbs you eat, the more you're not going to tap into your fat.
Okay.
Right? So think of the twigs that you're putting on the fire. When you eat that spaghetti, when you eat that bread, those are twigs. 20 minutes later, you got to throw another twig on there. You got to eat more sugar because that's how you feel better. You don't feel as good when you're eating carbs unless you have more carbs and sugar. Right? So the fat, the good fat and protein will cut those carb cravings and help you to switch over to fat burning. So see, and part of I'm pretty much fat burning all the time, even in my sleep, because fat is my focus. Now, when I say fat, remember, I'm not just talking about fattening. I'm not talking about fattening foods. I'm talking about fat. So I can burn fat all day, every day, and pretty much kind of stay in ketosis, even though I do eat berries and low carb fruits and vegetables. But the fat that I eat in the protein overtakes that. Like I said, I can one. I think they said watermelon for a cup is like 7 grams of carbs. Now I might eat 20 cups, 20 cups of watermelon, but I eat watermelon with cheese, right? So I'll mix it with feta cheese, or I mix it with a fatty hard cheese, which helps combat it. But the fiber and the cellular hydration that you get from watermelon, to me, outweighs the carbs, because it's not like empty bread carbs or pasta carbs. Or so I eat watermelon, and I found a seeded one too, so I'm eating that because I'm like,
seeded watermelon.
Yes.
Whoa. Well, wait. That's another thing. Where do you purchase your products? Do you do Whole Foods, Trader Joe's?
No, guess what? Gigi told me about a place in Bloomfield that has seeded watermelons, and I went there today and I got one.
Oh, see, that's what I'm looking for.
I'll have her post, or I'll post the place that she told me to go to.
Okay.
And guess what? It's more expensive. I guess everybody's looking for seeds.
It's worth it.
And I gotta tell you, I like seeded watermelons, and I wanted one, and I found them. But they slow you down when you eat. Those seeds slow you down.
That's good.
You gotta pick them out. I'm like, okay, this is slowing me down, but it's good. So fat. You gotta think fat, and thinking fat goes against everything we think, everything we've been taught. But I'm a living testimony to what I'm saying that is working for me. Like I said, I haven't had carbs, grains, or root vegetables since January 2020. I don't miss them. I don't crave them. I'm not hungry for them. You see the stuff that I eat. It's not like I'm not eating diet food. I'm not eating salad. I will eat a salad, but I'm not eating diet. I'm not thinking diet.
Yeah.
I go full fat all day, every day. And so I went from a size 14 to like, I'm a 6. I'm a solid 6. Of course, depending on cut of clothes. Some things I can wear 4. But definitely a 6. And I've been that way for at least a year.
Yeah. Yeah, you sustained it for a year. Now, I don't have an issue with the fasting. I've gone as much as 19 hours.
Yay!
Today, I did 19 hours.
Wow!
I broke my fast with a veggie omelet. It's just when I do break the fast, being more selective in what I eat. I realize now I think I crave the sugar and carbs, but it's not it's a mind craving. It's not a physical craving.
Okay.
It's not here, it's not here. And what I've been slowly doing is like clearing out all the stuff that I had. Either I'm throwing out or I'm not using it in my pantry and stuff. Yep. Right now, next week, I'm going on a vacation with my girls to Ocean City.
Oh, nice. Maryland?
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'm going to miss your Sunday call. But it's like, I'm like, okay, be mindful. Because, you are on vacation, you want to eat it. Yeah, but I'm still going to do my fast. Because I've been doing that since October.
Yeah.
So the timeline or the time frame, and I'm not hungry. Like I have what is called Fantastic on the app on my phone, and that has helped me. When I start and when I finish, I get little points. They give you this thing what they call Frosties. Frosties places where you can go off track or what, but I haven't used. I've accumulated all these points and things, but I haven't used them because I don't really want them. But sometimes I think to myself, oh, I can just treat myself.
And
but then I remember what you said.
Well, now let me go ahead. Finish. Go ahead.
No, I remember what you said about is what I'm going to treat myself with. Is it really going to help me achieve what I'm really trying to achieve or what have you? And that actually stops.
And let me tell you, this is a lifestyle.
Yes.
And just when people always talk
this the rest of my life.
And people always say, well, can I have a cheat day? I'm like, in a lifestyle, you don't need to cheat because technically you can eat whatever you want. You don't need to cheat. Like, cheating means you're doing something that you shouldn't do. Yeah. Right? Cheating is you're doing something in the dark. I'm hiding. It's the
minds, the words and the mindset.
But guess what? You don't have to cheat. If you want something, the biggest thing, which I always say, is the time. Noon to 8 p.m. or whatever time you said. You did 19 hours. That is, you have 5 hours to eat. Mm-hmm. So during that 5 hours, really, you can have whatever you want. My thing is try to stay clean as a lifestyle. But guess what? Whatever you want in that time, you can have it. No guilt, no shame, no cheating, no sneaking around. You don't have to put on a big floppy hat and glasses because you know that's still you. Go there. This is freedom and liberating in a lifestyle that you get to choose. And guess what? You might say, you know what? I'm going out with my girls. We're going to, Maryland. I'm going to get a crab cake. They got them po' boy sandwiches on that bread. And I want one, right? There's nothing that says you can't have it because you can have whatever you want. The problem comes in when we put the guilt to it. And then we say, oh, I did so bad. I'm horrible. Because that's self-sabotage and that's self-defeating. Yeah. Guess what? If I want this, I'm going to have it. Now, I'm going to try to have it within my eating window. Right? And I'm going to be mindful that if I eat this good bread, I might want another one tomorrow. But just think it out. And if the answer is yes, you know what? I'm going for it. I want it. I'm not going to eat this at home. I'm going to eat it while I'm on vacation. That's perfectly fine. But please don't associate bad feelings about yourself for eating it. Because then you're going to feel guilty. Then you're going to eat more. Oh, I already messed up. So you can have whatever you want. There's no cheat day needed. There's no cheat meal. There's no cheat anything. You can have whatever you want and it's all okay. And some people say, you know what, I'm not going to deny myself. I'm here, I'm on vacation, but I just want you to think, okay, how much am I is this going to lead me to something else? Is this going to open a portal because I love this? This is my thing right here. This will get me every time. Is this going to open a door for me where it's going to set me back? Yeah. And guess what? The answer might be yes. And if you're willing to deal with that yes,
just regroup and start over and do, just regroup.
That's it. Just like anything else that we do in life, everything has a benefit or a consequence, right? Mm-hmm. And we just have to be willing to deal with whatever it is. But my whole thing is just be conscious. And don't be mindless, like, oh, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, because then you might self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Just be
conscious of what you eat, okay.
And think about it and if the answer is yes, know that you chose yes and keep it moving. Right? Yeah. What else? I think we have probably 2 more minutes.
I'm good. I'm good because you've given me a lot of food for thought in the way of the nutrient-dense foods. To understand the process of why you want to do that, because you do want to stabilize your blood sugar. And if you do it, it will boost, and the logs that you need which is good fats and stuff that burn longer than the twigs. See, when you use those kind of analogies,
Girl, give me one big fat log that I can throw on that fire to burn all night. I'm not looking for a whole bunch of twigs.
yes,
I don't want a whole bunch of
that
twigs.
works. It makes so much sense to understand it better. Okay, what about, you talked about coconut cream and milk. Now, is that something you purchase? Like, when you purchase coconut cream, can you make that, or
you can make it, but it's hard. It's hard to make because you need like the young. Girl, you know I try to make everything. That was a fail. You know what? I'm gonna go run and get this container. Hopefully they don't shut us off. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Just so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is, so it's going to be backwards.
That's okay.
This is the coconut, it's ROD, AROY-D. And this is the coconut milk. I have the coconut cream. The coconut cream is heavier than the milk. It's fat, so it's like heavy cream versus milk. If you think of coconut cream versus coconut milk. But if you look at the ingredients, I'm going to try to read it. So, a serving size is a half a cup. Total fat is 17 grams. Total carbohydrates are 2 grams. No extra sugar. And the ingredient right here just says ingredient, coconut milk, 100%.
Okay.
Now, if you go to ShopRite and get the coconut milk in a can, you're going to see a lot of other ingredients. You're not just going to see, right? You're not going to.
Where can the purist? And now, is that refrigerated, or you can?
No, I refrigerate it after I open it.
So you can buy it and store it in the cabinet.
Yep.
That's what I like. To get enough of it and have it, and then once I open it, put it in.
Right, and you can put it in the freezer and it lasts forever. So this, they have a website where I buy. You can probably get it from Amazon too, but I buy it directly from them online.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in the stores, but this is a container, like I don't know what kind of container, just a material container. It's not It's not a can. It's not
like that. I used to trick my kids of getting the milk and then pouring it in the container because I don't want that milk. But I always used to get it like that you could store in the shelf and then pour it in a milk container that
Yeah, so this is 100% coconut milk. The coconut cream is 100% coconut cream.
Okay.
Now, it's a little hard to work with, especially the cream, because you got to make sure you mix it well, and it coming out this little hole. So the cream is work.
I think I'll try it with the milk first.
And guess what? Put it with your smoothies. Use it in your coffee if you want. So this can be used like you would any other cream. Somebody on the Facebook group said that they make whipped cream out of coconut milk. I tried it. It didn't work for me. But another thing real quick, even though it's not fat, I highly recommend sea moss. Because
I'm a big sea moss person already, or automatically. Matter of fact, I have a girlfriend who she gets what is deemed Dr. Sabi's approved, but waiting on an order. And I make it myself. That's something that I need right now because I'm kind of low and I'm kind of trying to pull it out. But if not, I'll, for the time that I'm away, maybe get some tablets to take, sea moss until I can get back.
And because sea moss not fat, but we're thinking nutrient dense. We're thinking whole food. We're thinking of nourishing our bodies with 100% pure ingredients. So if sea moss has 92 of the 102 essential minerals that our bodies need, there's no reason why we should not take that. Right? So
I make it myself and I mix it. I have a powdered beetroot powder that I mixed with. I was mixing it with a moringa butter, but that came from a herbal shop. I didn't like how it actually tastes, so no. But I also get the powdered bladder with powder, green powder, and I mix that with. So I drink that. Now I was thinking during my fasting, should I avoid, because I make it in a, I put the key lime water, let it sit. I make a bitter water and I mix it in that. Now, does that interfere with during the fasting, or I should wait to after?
That should be during your building. That should be during your eating time.
Okay, all right. See, so, that's what I wasn't sure, because I thought it might interfere with me, the fasting.
That because think of anything that has calories or that your body has to digest.
Okay.
And so fasting, think water, think black coffee, think 100% herbs, rosemary, thyme, think black tea, green tea. And those actually help with autophagy. That helps with fasting. That helps, they say, help your body process things smoother. Now, if you can do 100% water, I recommend 100% water if that's what you can do. If you need something else, then go for those things. But anything that you're eating, chewing, swallowing, digesting, save that for your... And guess what? If you know that you're going to do a 19-hour fast or a 20-hour time restricted, take a tablespoon more to help sustain you during that time.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Okay. So think, okay, you know what? I'm eating in 16 hours. I'm okay for 16 hours, but 19 hours might be a little much. So I'm gonna eat more during my eating window because I might want to try a 24-hour fast.
That's my goal, to try a 24 or one. But I'm basically doing one meal a day technically.
Yeah, but in one meal,
one meal, and then I might have something close to the end of the, because I think I need it, but not most of the times I really don't.
Yeah, but a lot of people that do one meal a day or OMAD find that they don't really get all the fat that they need.
They don't get enough.
So you have to go full fat if you're only going to eat one meal a day. Not counting calories, not doing diet food, but I'm talking about maybe 2,000 calories, mostly from fat and protein. So for some people, it's hard to get that.
Yeah, too much. Yeah. Okay.
So guess what? A 19-hour, when I intermittent fast, the times that I don't do the 90-hour weekly water fast, when I do 20 to 4, pretty much I'm eating for at least 2 hours straight. Right? So then you'll see my berry Sunday. You'll see me eat the eggs and the bacon with the chaffle. Then you'll see me drink the butter coffee. Then you'll see me eat steak and something else. Then you'll see me eat the fermented food. So out of those 4 hours, I might be eating consistently 2 hours. At 2, and then maybe again at 4. So I'm eating.
I'm eating slower. I'm not really hungry when I'm wolfing it down. I'm actually really chewing and eating slower, and that's helping me.
And the thing is, eat until you're full.
And that's, I've noticed that I won't eat. I'm not eating everything either. Yeah.
So eat good quality fat and protein, and eat until you're full without the worry, because sometimes, and I still do it. I'm gonna tell the truth and shame the devil. I still do it sometimes. Oh my God, I'm fasting starting tonight at 8 o'clock. So I'm okay, what? I gotta eat something else. What else am I gonna eat? But I'm good. And we have to do what we can do to take care of our bodies without living in fear that we're gonna die. Or without living in fear that we don't have enough.
Realize you're not. I don't even get. I think in the beginning when I started, I might get a headache or a slight headache, which said, "Oh, you got to eat something." But that's not the case anymore. I don't even get that anymore.
And even when you get the hunger pains, if you're used to eating certain times of the day, your body will let you know, okay, this is when we usually eat. Right? But you're okay, body, we're fasting. You're fed enough. You're not hungry. And then, if you ate at noon, you might get hunger pangs at noon. Then if you ate at 2 o'clock, you might get hunger pains then, but they will go away, especially if you just drink water.
Water.
But your body's used to eating certain times of the day, and until we change that pattern, it's going to remind us, ding, 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 time to eat. We usually are eating now, and you just have to say, you know what, we ate enough, we're good. Because those hunger pains will go away. All right, Nancy, I don't want this to cut us off like it did last time. So
Okay.
I'm going to sign off. If you have any questions or anything, either email me.
I'll definitely reach out.
Okay. Thank you so
Okay.
much, and enjoy your vacation with your girls.
I will. Take care.
All right. Thank
Alrighty.
you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, join our Facebook group, The Daily Cleansing Lifestyle, for more tips on how to intermittent fast, how to extend fast, how to prepare your bodies with great nutrients to sustain your fast, how to ferment. We have lots of good information. We share. We are a great community who love one another, who want to help one another reach our goals, and more than anything, feel great in our bodies. Thank you for watching. Enjoy today. Shalom.